Tintin XL 92.5 FM.
All right, welcome aboard. It's a great New Year's Eve day. I'll tell you the new drug today. You give me a Citrus Bowl and a Texas Bowl and a ReliaQuest Bowl all in the same day.
And an Alabama loss.
An Alabama loss. Pretty good day across the board.
Yeah, that is what a great day of college football. And obviously the headliner tonight, the playoff quarterfinal, the first one, Penn State, Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl.
We're on an excitement level on a scale of 10 for that game. Where are you?
It's a 4.
Yeah,
I can't get
same
there.
here.
I will watch it, and if it's competitive, obviously I'll stay with it. And look, Boise State's given us some great moments. I mean, one of the best bowl games I ever watched is when they upset Oklahoma on the Statue of Liberty. And then the kid proposed to his cheerleader girlfriend right after he scored the game winner. Yeah, I mean, that was one of the greatest, bowl victories, bowl games I've ever watched in terms of drama. They hit the hook and ladder.
And the Statue of Liberty was a thing of beauty.
It was. I mean, it was so well designed and executed. So, yeah, I mean, maybe it'll surprise us, but I'm way more excited about, obviously, Notre Dame, Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon.
Right. Those are the two.
Yeah,
by the way.
Texas, Arizona State. I'm more excited for than the Fiesta Bowl, just because to see if the Longhorns can, take down Arizona State and that Arizona State running back. JJ, I heard you talking about it last night on
Mike Allstott.
on Rick's show, and I mean,
Cam Scatterbo.
He's not only is he breaking tackles, but he's talking a little smack.
He is. He said, "No one can stop me,"
So,
which I love.
Yeah. I got to tell you,
I don't believe it, but I love it.
I think they might be pretty good. We'll see. If Texas puts 38-17 on them, then I was wrong. But I don't think so. Even though all these other games, when possible pretenders played contenders, they all turned out that way. So maybe this will too. But they're the one team I think might be pretty good. We'll see.
Yeah.
No, we'll see something. But I'm like,
where is it for you? Same.
Tonight's game?
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
4. That's a good number. Here's where it is for me. Where we have dinner reservations at 8. There's about 4 couples going together, and we're going to dinner.
Yeah.
And if I go to the bathroom and walk by the bar and see it, and I hate to say that being a college football guy, but it is where I am. I mean, if it was now, look, Alabama obviously they just lost again, so they're probably not all that good. But from a brand standpoint, if it was Penn State and Alabama, I probably wouldn't be going to dinner. I mean, I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Penn State, Boise State. I said, let's all go to dinner. So,
it does seem like there is great momentum to get rid of the automatic seeding,
and I think that will happen. I think that, and according to the rules that you read, the rule they've agreed that they could change anything but the number of teams by next year, and by 2 years they can change the number of teams. But so next year it's going to be 12 again. But they can change and I think now it's pretty obvious that even though they've got to get sign off from everybody, it's not just a majority. You need all of them. But I do now think that it is pretty much a foregone conclusion from everything you read, Hays, that by next year the top 4 seeds will be the top 4 teams in the poll, and it won't. And now you'll still get in by winning your conference, but it won't get you a top seed. It's pretty clear now that's where it's headed, don't you think?
I would think, but it does make me nervous that it's got to be unanimous. I mean, if you're the representative from the group of 5 schools,
right? That's right.
I mean, you would be like, well, why would we do this? We had a champion just get the number 3 national seed, get a bye. Why would we now, knowing full well that it will never happen again, if they go to the, in the format, if you didn't have the automatic seeds this year, Boise State probably wasn't going to be the 12, but they would have been a 10 or an 11.
Right.
They'd have been traveling on the road instead of having a bye. So it does make me a little worried about that.
And your point's right. Why would, for that matter, even the Big 12? Why would either the Big 12 or
Boise would be 9, by the way.
Yeah.
They would have been 9
in the
but
ranking, which is different.
So I mean, you're still traveling on the road.
Who would the first 4 have been? Oregon, Georgia,
Texas and Penn State.
Texas and Penn State.
Because Ohio State took that loss right at the end of the season.
That's right. So interesting. Because I think the general consensus is that the best teams or Oregon, Georgia, Texas, and Ohio
Right.
State.
Well, again, the fact that Oregon and Ohio State have to play in a quarterfinal,
I know,
is ridiculous.
we got it wrong.
That's ridiculous.
If that happens, you got it wrong.
Yeah.
Because eye tester, no, you have a pretty good idea that they're two of the better teams. So that's one thing I think you have a pretty good idea.
And Brett McMurphy was reporting exactly what you're saying yesterday, and that I feel like he's the insider guy of college football, probably. So if he's saying it, I think it's going to happen.
He thinks it's going to happen?
Yeah, he thinks they're going to keep. Obviously, they have to keep, he said, if you win the conference, you're in.
Sure.
But the automatic qualifier, the automatic buys in the top 4 seeds, that's going to change next year to the top 4 teams.
And it should.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So we'll talk a little bit about the bowl games going on right now. LSU leads Baylor 14-0. In one game, Illinois leads South Carolina 7-3, middle of the second quarter, in a fun little Big Ten SEC matchup. So we'll talk about that. Louisville tied with Washington 21-all at the half. So this is the day that used to be the January 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So they just backed them all up a day. So January 1st could be the playoff games.
Yeah. And Michigan with a huge win. What a finish to the season for the Wolverines.
I'll tell you what, they still can't throw it. They're a tough physical team. And they're a tough physical team. And it was a great finish. I mean, you beat Ohio State and Alabama.
Yeah, I didn't get to see any of it. Did you? I don't know if you guys did or not, but did Mason Graham do anything did he play for Michigan?
I don't even know.
I was curious.
I don't even know. I watched. You know what? I was in and out.
Yeah,
I wasn't locked in, so I was in and out. So hey, we got a lot of fun things to talk about today. I'm very.
He didn't play, by the way.
He did not play.
I don't think
Good.
so.
I'm in.
What about Will Johnson? I want these guys pristine health wise.
We Brett Hastings is coming by, Sports and Courts, in just a few minutes. I'm really interested in what happens. If you haven't seen the story, 6 former Florida State basketball players are all suing Leonard Hamilton for promises. They were promised, was it $250,000? They were all supposed to get.
What they allege.
They allege
each were supposed to get.
Each were supposed to get $250,000 in an NIL deal, and none of them got it. And apparently, they've got the texts from Leonard saying that the money's coming. So, I mean, again, these drag on, but I'm very interested to see what happens with that. So Brett will be with us at 4:20 today. My friend Jeff Dantzler, Nobody Knows Georgia Football from the Georgia Radio Network, joined us at the top of the hour, 5 o'clock, to preview Georgia and Notre Dame. I'll give Jeff credit. Jeff was on with me in August, July, somewhere thereabouts, and said, I'll tell you right now, Georgia and Texas are going to play 3 times. And he said that. I maybe on with both of us, but he said they're going to play 3 times. He said, I expect them to play 3 times. Well, 2 are in the books. And would anybody be surprised if they played a 3rd time? I don't think so. I think they probably are headed for a 3rd time. So we'll see what winds up happening. On the Jaguar front, it'll be very interesting. I will say this. We talked a little bit about the future, Hays, of the Jags. Somebody had a story that somebody of note, Chad, who was it, that said,
Paul. Oh, you're talking about the Ben Johnson thing?
Yeah.
Chad Forbes.
Chad Forbes had this, and he said the Ben Johnson to the Jags is the worst kept secret around. Now, look, I'll say what I said yesterday.
No, it is not.
Yeah. I'll say
he also said 7 years, $80 million.
Yeah, that's right. And he said he'll bring, and listen, with all due respect, maybe he's right. Maybe it's exactly what's going to happen. But this isn't like the Bears, the Saints, and the Bears, the Saints. Who else has fired their coach?
The Jets.
The Bears, the Saints, and the Jets. Who have fired their coach? Now maybe they're going to fire the coach here and whatnot. But so we'll see. But it was interesting. That was a story that got my attention. The other story that got my attention. I'm really glad Byron Leftwich came out and talked, because I tried on this radio show to explain to people this story that he was offered the job, but he wouldn't come here because of the general manager, was so preposterous that an offensive coordinator would turn down his first ever NFL offer to be a head coach because he didn't like the coordinator. Do you remember that story floating around?
Sure.
It was floating there, and I said this on this air then, and I've said it since then, and I'll say it again now. Byron Leftwich was never offered the Jaguar job, and to be honest, I don't believe he was ever close to being offered the Jaguar job. It's not like it was never at the 5-yard line, which was kind of the rumor out there. Well, one rumor is that he was offered the job. Another rumor was that it was at the 5-yard line. That was never the case. It was just never the case. So, and I'm glad Byron today cleared the air on that. He made it. If you didn't see the story in The Athletic, he pretty much came out and said, listen, I was never offered the job. I would have loved to have had the job. I interviewed for it. I appreciate them interviewing me. I would have loved to have had it, but I didn't wind up getting it. And he was very honest and contrite, and I appreciated his coming out and talking about that. So a lot of things to talk about on the program today. Did you know, by the way, that the Under Armour All-American game is tomorrow?
I did not.
Or Thursday?
Until you
I will be locked in.
Me.
I'll be locked in. I think 78 different players are going to Florida from that game.
Nice. I did see they've got a nice contingent.
I will say this. I love Lagway.
Mm-hmm.
And I think quietly under the radar that they were I said this when we talked about guys they should get in the portal. I said, I think they should get a backup quarterback. And I said, and so they got the Deshaun Purdy from Charlotte, who's pretty good. He's the perfect backup because he's not coming in there expecting to start. Yet if he had to play, it wouldn't be like you're playing a walk-on guy, you know. So he's played more, even though Tramel Jones might be good in time. But this kid, you're playing a guy that's played some now.
Which is impossible to find a good backup nowadays.
It really is.
You know, with the portal, everybody can start anywhere.
And, JJ, that's 100% correct. That's why even when I said it a few weeks ago, one of the things they need a portal is a backup quarterback. I didn't think they'd get one, so this guy's pretty good. But I'll tell you this. Last year I watched tape or video of this guy, Dylan Raiola. He was going to go to Georgia. He was the number one prospect in the country. And then he wound up at his dad's alma mater, Nebraska, and he's pretty good. But I don't know if you remember this, but I remember telling you because I'm just geeky with all this quarterback tape stuff that I thought he looked like an NFL quarterback. Do you remember the conversation?
I do, yeah.
This guy, Will Griffin, he's only a junior that Florida's getting, but they're letting him play in this Under Armour game.
That's interesting. So underclassmen are allowed to play in it too.
A few. From what just a handful can play in it. So he's playing in this game. Hey, wait till you watch this guy's tape. Hey, he looks like Dylan Raiola looked to me. Wow. This guy, Will Griffin, looks to me like the Raiola kid did. So we'll see. So it's going to be fun. So I'm
Will Griffin's numbers on 24/7 Sports, they have him as a 4-star, and on their composite, he's the nation's number 151st overall player, which is a good. I mean, he's obviously very good. But 6'3", 225. Yeah, he's junior in high school,
and he's big. That's
a big kid.
He's got that.
You got to figure he'll be 6'3", maybe 6'4". 235 probably by the time he actually gets to college.
And I don't follow recruiting, so I don't know who all of them are. I just saw some video of him, but he's got the Will Levis body. Now, Will Levis doesn't look like he's going to be a great player, but you'd love to have his body as your quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. He looks like he's got the Will Levis body. So that was kind of fun to watch. All right, a lot of fun things to talk about today. We'll talk some Jaguar football as we always do. We'll talk all about the bowl games. We'll preview the playoff games. Who do we think is going to win those games? It's going to be a lot of fun to do that as well. But we'll kick it off with Sports and Courts. Brett Hastings will be by to talk about, do these former Florida State basketball players have a case? That's our topic after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
A sturdy defense keeps your end zone safe like a Superior fence keeps your family and pets safe.
It's fantastic.
After the game, catch the Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game.
What a baller.
On 1010XL.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. Find your holiday season stride with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start, and check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a 50% bump on your first deposit. For a limited time, MyBookie will add 50% to your initial deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Jaguars are a 5-point underdog at the Colts. The over-under is 45 points. Cincinnati is a 2.5-point favorite at Pittsburgh. The Lions are a 3-point home favorite over the Vikings. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a 50% bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
To get this thing unwrapped here. Duval!
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, Dan. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Dailies Dash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, like me. I'm sure there's a Dailies Dash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course.
Oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Dailies Dash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Daily Stash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Have you heard? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are aiming to sell 1,000 vehicles this December. How? I've told my team to take all reasonable offers. We won't lose your business over price. With thousands of cars, trucks, and SUVs on the ground, all priced to sell, we guarantee the most money for your trade and the easiest car buying experience ever. I promise we ain't leaving nothing on the table, but you've only got 1 week left. Visit Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Here's Ben and John Lupo, owners of Beards Diamonds.
It's funny, my dad has sold people engagement rings, and now I'm selling their kids engagement rings and anniversary gifts and birthday gifts.
We're blessed with the relationships we've built over the years.
Check out our full inventory at beardsdiamonds.com.
Beards Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center.
Integrity, persistence, and standing up for victims. It's what you want in a personal injury case and what my friend and lawyer Glenn Cohen brings to every case for over 40 years. Call Glenn at Barnes & Cohen.
Cooking with Prisco.
These things are wonderful. You're going to love it. Have a rolling.
Catch CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco every Friday afternoon on The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL.
When you roll into a convenience store for some cold Bud Light, you want to make sure it's, well, cold. Check out the big coolers at Circle K. They make sure it's chilled and ready to go for the big game or party. Swing by Circle K and pick up some cold Bud Light.
Jacksonville's building a fence along the goal line. This is the Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Josh Hines Allen was sensational for the Teal and Black. The Jacksonville defensive end tallied 6 tackles against the Titans, with 3 being solo, and also recorded a sack in what was a great day. Allen made sure that his ruthless aggression rained down all game versus Tennessee, and is your Superior Fence and Rail's defensive player of the game.
If you're tired of your fence looking like a bad hair day, well, it's time for a fence makeover with Superior Fence and Rail. They'll make your yard the talk of the town with a new fence installed by their expert team.
Your fence is fantastic. My fence is giving all of my neighbors some serious pick and envy. Thanks, Superior Fence and Rail.
So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your fence installation project today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
The Florida Forum welcomes New York Times bestselling author Deepak Chopra, moderated by Shad Khan, January 15th. Funds raised for a Kids Care Mobile ICU, a neonatal and pediatric critical care transport vehicle. Kids Care vehicles and helicopters safely transport more than 2,200 infants and children a year to Wolfson Children's Hospital. To get your tickets, call 202-2886 or click thefloridaforum.com.
This holiday season, send someone you love a beautiful arrangement from Kuhn Flowers. Frank Frangie here, and I know that when you order from Kuhn, you'll show them how much you care. Online at kuhnflowers.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now time for Sports and Courts, legal issues in the sports world with Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. Hit back with Hastings.
And Brett Hastings shows up wearing this sweet Jacksonville Bulls lid. Look at that. Look at that thing.
That is fantastic.
How about that? Where'd that come from?
My son Hunter got it.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's got into the whole vintage sports gear.
Look at that. Look at that.
So,
That's the kind of thing that you would like find if somebody did a time capsule in like 1983 and you opened it in 2024 on New Year's Eve. Like a Jacksonville Bulls cap like that might be in it. It's fantastic. I had the exact same cap as a kid.
I did.
Lindy wore that on the sideline.
Yeah.
That's the one. That was the cap.
Picked mine up at Pick and Save back in the day. You know?
Now, did you go to Bulls games?
I did.
Did you
actually
I loved it.
Yeah, we
first football game I ever went to.
We went to almost every one.
Yeah, stomp the feet.
Our neighbor, he was a videographer, so I got to carry cable on the sidelines and go into the locker rooms and stuff. So love the Bulls.
Yeah,
could they have named the Jaguars the Jacksonville Bulls? Was that a thing?
There was talk of whether or not Wayne Weaver ever considered it. I don't know. It certainly was something we discussed on radio. I can promise you on talk radio, it was something we discussed over and over. Same color scheme, same name. I don't think they wanted any connection to the USFL. Remember, the league did sue them.
Yeah, and
the USFL did sue them.
And they were still only a decade removed from that. Now you're so far removed from it. It's nostalgia.
Because I can tell you, the old USFL really was working. It looked right. They had 60,000, 70,000 a game. They had an ABC television contract. What changed it is Trump.
Right.
Trump was the owner of the Generals, wanted to merge with the NFL, so he pushed everyone to do it. It didn't happen. They sued him. Remember the suit?
Yeah.
Remember the law?
$1
and
damages.
But then they had tripled
prevailed
it.
on antitrust.
But then they tripled it. So they actually got $3.
That's right.
You had to do something in triplicate or something. So right, remember that?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
that's actually a landmark sports decision, and it's really one of the reasons that you could go and challenge it, right? Yeah. And the NFL still looks back at that precedent, but obviously they're the only game in town now.
Yeah, so there you go. So sweet lid, by the way.
Yes.
I'm jealous of your Jacksonville Bulls lid.
I like it.
All right, so tell me about this case, Brett. The 6 ex-Florida State basketball players say they were promised $250,000 in NIL dollars by Leonard Hamilton.
Right.
Never got the money.
Right.
They're suing him, if I understand it right.
It is. I've got the complaint here in front of me.
Take us through it.
So it's Darren Green Jr., Josh Nickelberry, Primo Spears, Cameron Fletcher, Deontay Green, and Jalen Worley. And each of them say that, some were at Florida State and others transferred and came to Florida State. All of them say that Leonard Hamilton specifically represented to them that they would get $250,000 for name, image, and likeness to play the 2003 to 2004 basketball season.
Right.
A couple of the other interesting allegations that are in the lawsuit is that they said, hey, a couple guys were not at Florida State, It was but for this representation that they came to Florida State. Right. Others said, hey, we remained here. We didn't go in the portal. But nobody was getting paid, and they were pushing back on it. So the week before they played Duke.
They skipped practice.
Yeah, they had an organized, you were going to walk out. And they said after that, there was a meeting in the film room. What the lawsuit says, there's a gentleman, Will Cohen. He's with the Rising Spear Collective. He was there. He was present. And they went in there and Leonard Hamilton said, listen, guys, basically I gave you my word. Everybody's getting $250,000. We're working through this. We're working through the payments. Now, what's interesting, there's a series of text messages and other stuff, and I heard you reference it as I was driving in. There isn't a text message where Leonard Hamilton does anything other than call me, okay? But there are a whole bunch of text messages with Will Cohen, with each of the other people, where everybody corroborates the fact that that is what Leonard Hamilton said. But now this goes back to what we've been talking about a lot, right? We know this is a pay-for-play situation. Can Leonard Hamilton go and procure these individuals' name, image, and likeness rights? No, right? He was acting as a middleman, we assume, to say, hey, I've coordinated with the collective. You come here, you're going to get $250,000 for your name, image, and likeness rights, right? And that never came to fruition. There are allegations in the lawsuit that they never even got a penny towards this. And a couple of the text messages, and this is something we talked about, the guys were reaching out, right, and saying, look, we need to get some money because now we've got to pay our taxes, right, from other monies that they got. And these are the types of things that we're going to start seeing coming up. There's I'll probably go ahead and post it, put it up on our Twitter or something else if somebody wants to read the complaint, wants to look through the things. You can see there's like a group chat, series of texts, between the different players and one of the gentlemen from the collective. So, yeah.
How do you think Leonard Hamilton's attorneys will combat this?
It'll be interesting. I mean, hey, we got the court and basketball court here, right? We got the court of public opinion, and we've sort of got the legal out here. Now, the actual lawsuit is one for an oral breach of contract. We've talked about that a lot. Something called promissory estoppel. Like we made good on what we did. You should not be able to get out of that. Fraud and negligent misrepresentation. They haven't sued Florida State. right? They haven't sued anybody else. They've gone and sued Leonard,
right?
Individually. Some of the potential defenses are, he didn't have the ability, to bind anybody or to make good on that or anything else. But I think it's going to be a really uncomfortable proposition for him. I think they're going to end up coming up with $250,000 and figuring out how to do it.
So
times 6.
Yeah, so $1.5 million, right?
Yeah. So let me ask you,
because it just kills you on the trail, right? I think that's a bigger issue than the legal.
But it's interesting because he's in the final year of his contract and he's 76.
Right.
So, how many more years does he have left? Which makes it interesting.
Yeah.
And
What else? What I wonder about too in this is he saying that I never promised the money? I don't know. Let me rephrase it. We don't know that.
We don't know yet because he has not answered.
But I wonder if that's what he's going to say. I mean, obviously they didn't get the money.
Right.
And they don't have, I was wrong. They don't have him on text saying, yes, you'll get your money. They have him on text saying, call me. That's a big difference.
Right. Well, but you got to remember, this is just a notice plea.
Right.
Okay. There's going to be a whole host of other, what the complaint is to put the person you're suing on notice of what the allegations are. There's a lot more proof, that would be coming out of this, right? If I'm the lawyer, what do you think I want? Who's he texting that's going to get the money?
Right.
Hey, we promised these guys $250,000.
Right.
We've got to make good on this. If you find that, then it's a slam dunk, right? To answer your question, you're saying, hey, they don't have that. They don't have that yet, but we're getting ready to go do what needs to happen by way of discovery. And so the conversations between himself and the athletic director, the conversations between himself and this collective or any other, quote, money men or somebody that would, step up and do that, that's what's going to be interesting, right?
It's very interesting. And obviously we've seen this with Jaden Rashada suing Billy Napier, among others. But correct me if I'm wrong, Rashada's case is over fraud, but this is not over fraud, even though they're both NIL.
No, they're similar allegations.
Okay.
Here, there's a oral breach of contract. There's a what's called promissory estoppel. It means inequity, right? Like, this isn't right. This isn't equitable. You need to pay me the $250,000. There's fraud. And so that's where that other discovery would go, right? Because you'd say, hey, he simply breached a contract if they didn't come up with the money or they didn't have the money or something like that. If they get into the fraud and he's like, yeah, you find text messages that we're never going to pay these guys, just get them to play. And, I'm 76 and I'm getting ready to leave next year. Then that would be fraud, because fraud is you make a representation, and at the time you made that representation, you knew it was false, and someone else has to, and this is the important, language in the law, detrimentally relied on it and were damaged. So, the statements are out there. That's kind of where the proof would be. And what you do is you plead in what we call the alternative, right? Hey, it's either a breach of contract or it's a fraud. We'll get this discovery and we'll find out, right? So, what I think will be interesting is if you find discovery between Leonard and these, quote, whoever the money people are saying, hey, right? Hey, we got to come up with this money. We'd all talked about this. This is what we told the guys. This is what everybody was going to get paid. Because now, right, Leonard is leaving or what have you, but I'm sure Todd Golden and whoever the new coach at Miami or anybody else is going to say, hey, you can go play there. Those guys didn't get paid. Not one, not Jaden Rashada. The whole team didn't get paid. And I think that would be something that would be really problematic.
And if they win the lawsuit, isn't there a chance this becomes a big precedent? And my gut tells me if they win this lawsuit, there's going to be more coaches getting sued like you can't imagine, right?
Yes and no. I think everybody's going to get to the point of having the requisite level of sophistication, right? He was out saying these things, and it was kind of like, in sort of my analysis when we did Sports and Courts for Billy Napier and the Jaden Rashada, it was so loose, right? Guys were throwing around texts. They were throwing around offers, When they make you guys an employment offer here, you might talk about that generally, but then it needs to get formalized. It needs to come down to a contract. It needs to go to something else. Right. So I think what you're going to see is the onus on these student athletes are going to need some representatives to say, hey, great, we're going to go come here, right? I need Well, I'm not transferring. I'm not announcing in the portal. I'm not going on Twitter. I'm not getting a U-Haul until I've got a name, image, and likeness contract for, $250,000. And then, hey, I'm ready to go to Tallahassee and to play. And so it's really fast and loose right here, here. And in this instance, if, say, these allegations are true, it's unfortunate for these young people if they gave up these other opportunities and could go somewhere where they were, in fact, going to be compensated to play.
And your point is right. It's fast and loose, and I think that's the problem. We'll continue to watch it. This is an interesting one, though, because I think it could be a precedent if FSU's 6 players won't.
I think we'll be back in 2 weeks, and the answer will be really, really interesting. You have 20 days to answer the lawsuit.
Okay.
So they've either got to move to dismiss or plead with some specificity their affirmative defenses, and that's where we'll kind of know the, quote, the other side of the story.
Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. That is Sports and Courts. Thanks, buddy. Happy New Year. We'll take a break. When we come back, more in a moment. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Football's heating up. The NBA is back. And on Hard Rock Bet, you can bet every sport. Even combine all your sports into one bet. One Florida bettor put $50 on a combo parlay and won more than $100,000. And they tacked on another $10,000 to that win with a daily profit boost. Promos every day for every kind of player. Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us. Win your first bet or get up to $100 back in bonus bets. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
It's the final days to get inflation fighter savings at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. The final days to save thousands with just $500 down and $288 per month for a pre-owned 2021 Toyota Corolla. Or you choose a pre-owned 2021 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for $500 down and $388 per month. Don't wait. The final days of inflation fighter savings are here. So get to Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned today. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen, energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Right now, buy one window or patio door and get one 40% off. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. The first 50 customers get a free True Screen upgrade, but this offer expires December 31st. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
This is Hays Carlyon for Kingfish Pest Control. Are you tired of spiders, ants, roaches, or other pests invading your home turf? Call the winning team at Kingfish Pest Control. I can tell you from my own experience, Kingfish will sack mosquitoes, tackle rodents, and intercept termites before they can blitz into your home. And right now, score 20% off your new pest control service when you start during the 2024 football season. Save big and defend your home with Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Bowl season is like a college football snow globe. And with 1010XL's Ultimate Bowl Challenge, you can decorate your life with $1,000 in jewelry from Beard's Diamonds if you win.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Get your picks in at 1010XL.com.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too. From Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Pick it here for Bound 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bound 9. Visit Bound 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bound 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. No matter the weather, Triumph has an unbelievable selection of rides where you can get out and just enjoy the highway.
They do. The new Rocket is out with the new color schemes, the Tiger 1200, which has been revamped. These bikes are nice, gorgeous, and ready to ride.
And if you want to take a look at the selection, they can just roll into the showroom and see a full variety.
We've got them all in stock and ready to go.
So if you log on, cyclesofjacksonville.com, search the Triumph line, and then head into the showroom, you'll be impressed. Cycles of Jacksonville.
Everybody, Mike Dempsey here. Listen, I'm all about a sure thing. I like putting my money down knowing I'm going to win, and that's exactly what Awaken 180 was for me, a sure bet. I dropped 25 pounds in just over a month, and let me tell you, the results speak for themselves. Now imagine this. You start Awaken 180 now, and when February rolls around, you've already lost 20 pounds. Or maybe you're like Matt Hays, down 40 pounds by March. And don't even get me started on Hacker. Dude's lost over 100 pounds. Life-changing results, and I got to see it firsthand. Awaken 180 isn't some gimmick. You eat, you're never starving, and the weight just comes off fast. No guesswork, no crash diets, just a plan that works. And the best part, it's built to last thanks to free support for life. Don't wait for another failed resolution. Start your new year with the program that is the sure bet. Visit Awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800. Make sure this year is the year you win big with Awaken 180.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Tony Baselli and Pete Prisco have questions about the Jaguars' run game.
The run game doesn't feel like it's married up to the pass. It doesn't feel like there's like a continuity of what they're trying to do. And I think it goes back to what we talked about, Pete, often on this show this year is what's the identity? Who are they?
I think sometimes you just need to maul people. You just need them. And there's never any moment where you just think they're mauling people. You know, like when you watch the Lions do a lot of that pulling and everything too. But there's times when you look at them and you go, they're mauling people. You don't see, Jacksonville doesn't maul anybody.
Tony Baselli and Pete Prisco on Jaguars Happy Hour with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update. I'm Andrew Gibson.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
We're glad you're with us. Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon, JJ LaSelva. I sure thank my friends from Nimnick. Nimnick Chevrolet is located on Cassett Avenue. I've been buying cars there since 1982, and that's a long time to be buying cars there. That's the first time I bought a car on my own, and I'm sure glad that I did. So they do a great job, and head to Nimnick. Nimnick Chevrolet is on Cassett. Nimnick Buick GMC is located on Phillips Highway. Been friends with the Nimnick family for, most of my adult life. I've been buying cars there and proud to be their spokesperson for decades. So go see the folks at Nimnick. You'll be glad you did. They do a terrific job. They truly, truly do. All right. The bowls have begun. The bowl day's begun. Tomorrow is when we get serious about or tonight, I guess. Who's moving on? Who do you? I mean, what is your forecast of what you expect to see in these four games, starting with the one tonight?
Do not have a great feeling about many of them. I do think Penn State gets it done tonight. I don't think it'll be a rout, but I think Penn State wins by kind of right where the number is. I'll say Penn State doesn't cover, wins by 10. I just can't pick against Georgia. I thought I would the whole time, but I mean, it seems like they're very confident in Gunnar Stockton to step in for Carson Beck. And they're just so physical. So I'll take Georgia in a close game over Notre Dame. I'll take Oregon, I guess, in a mini upset to beat Ohio State. And I'll take Texas fairly comfortable. Texas by 14 over Arizona State.
I think Ohio State's going to beat Oregon.
They looked fantastic against Tennessee.
Yeah, I think they're going to beat Oregon. That'd be the 8 beating the 1. But I think Ohio State's going to beat Oregon. So I think it's going to be Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia. I think the best game of the group, as you said, is Notre Dame, Georgia, the last one. That could be a really good game. Interesting, isn't it? That Georgia and Notre Dame played in the Sugar Bowl, which is where they're playing tomorrow night. They played in the Sugar Bowl the first time Georgia won the national title. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The 1980.
Yeah.
Buck Baloo's numbers that game, please.
I don't remember the game, but I think
one for 8 for 7 yards.
I was going to say I don't remember it being a very high passing total.
Yeah. So 1 for 8 for 7
I
yards.
think this one might be boring.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited. I think it'll be close, but I'm not in love with either offense, even before the injury to Beck. The number's 45 right now. Definitely the lowest out of all the playoff games by like 10 points.
I'd go under.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if it's higher than 24-20.
Yeah, I will tell you this. It seems as though in all of these games, there is a college football, well, all college sports, but college football particularly, there is a have and have-nots that matter. The NFL does not have and have-nots. Some teams good for a while and whatever because you get the right quarterback. Georgia's got more good players than anybody else. I really believe that. That when this thing started, the reason Penn State completely rolled SMU after not rolling many Big Ten teams is because they had far more good players. Notre Dame had far more good players than Indiana, Texas, and Clemson same way. I was surprised Ohio State beat Tennessee. They had more good players, but that was also home field, and they got rolling. And
that was a little bit of a buzzsaw.
Yeah, that was.
You caught the wrong team at the wrong time.
That's right.
The Vols.
I thought that was part of the same thing too. So
they got a great roster though too.
Yeah.
Ohio State probably has the second best roster in America behind Georgia.
Great roster. No question.
They've spent so much money on it this offseason, and Smith, man, at the wide receiver position is a freak. I mean, I would love to see where he would be drafted if he was taken this year, which obviously can't happen.
He'd be a top 5 pick.
Probably.
Yeah, but Tennessee hangs around those SEC teams more than they did this.
Their offense, though, sucked this year, even against the SEC. Like, there was 3 or 4 games in a row where they didn't score in the whole first half.
Right. Well, the Florida game.
Yeah.
And Nico's talented, but he definitely has issues seeing things.
Yes.
And maybe that'll get better. He's still just in his second year of college, so... But I just think that Ohio State probably played the best game that they can possibly play against Tennessee. And, I do think Oregon at least has the confidence that they've already beaten them once. So,
yeah, I'm picking Oregon too. I'm just saying Ohio State's roster to me is awesome.
Well, and again, that's what's such a shame about the bracket is, this to definitely be at minimum a Final Four
next
game.
week.
Yeah, not a quarterfinal game.
Who do you want to see win? If you had to root for a team to win the whole thing, do you care?
Boise.
Yeah, I mean it's hard not to go for the massive underdog story.
I guess Boise too, but
I just don't accept them.
Team?
Yeah, a realistic team. Because here's where I'm going with that. You call me crazy.
Yes, I don't know.
But I
don't really like any of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some I hate.
Yeah, well,
Notre Dame and Ohio State, definitely not.
Right. Part of being a college
Oregon.
Well, part of being a college football fan is I like my team and I hate all other teams. That's kind of who we are, and I love that.
It's hard to pick Notre Dame just because I always grew up with. They just had such an advantage.
Right.
I mean, it was ridiculous. And so it's hard to pull for Notre Dame for me. Obviously,
You'll
Georgia
pull for them tomorrow night.
is a non-star. Yeah, I'm talking about to win the whole thing. And I don't really have a problem with Ohio State, but to me, it's like the same reason I wouldn't root for the New York Yankees. I know that if you had payroll, they would be the biggest spender in college football this season. So it's hard for me to root for that. Oregon has never won it. I'm not wrapped up in Oregon, but I mean, I am picking lesser of the evils, I suppose, but I still won't find myself quacking or anything like that on every touchdown.
I can see you quack. You're a guy that I can see quack. You can pull off the quack.
I'll quack, but I'm not quacking for the Oregon Ducks.
I'm telling you, I think Arizona State hangs around with Texas. I think that might be the surprise.
If Texas wasn't in the SEC, I might pull for Texas.
Yeah.
Because I kind of like their team, but with them now being in the SEC, I just think it's too much too soon for the Longhorns.
I like Sark's story.
Yeah.
Like he was, made fun of by everybody.
Well, and I'll say this, like of the college football games that I watched this year, Texas was by far like what they did to Florida in terms of a schematic advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, it was unbelievable. The things that Sark had dialed up in that game that Florida just had no idea who to cover.
Right.
Everybody was running wide open.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I respect that. But I guess I'm pulling for Oregon.
Yeah.
If Oregon wins it, it'll eliminate Florida from being the last first-time national champion, which is hard to believe.
Good point.
But Florida, when they won it in '96, it was their first one.
That's a crazy.
Isn't that a crazy stat?
That's the last.
That's the last first-time national champion in football.
But back to Arizona State, you don't think they have a chance against Texas?
Arizona State?
Yeah.
No.
How about you, JJ? Do you have a chance? I think they do. I mean, I've watched them enough now.
I think that Texas defensive front is going to eat that.
Yeah, I don't think either one of these, the Penn State or Boise. I mean, have a chance, I guess, if they slow the game down with Scatterbo and he really can't be stopped and they make it like Texas has had like 3 possessions when you look up in the first half and it's 10-7 or something.
Yeah.
Maybe, but no, out of all the games, I would say, I don't think so. I think Texas is going to cover pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think that's a fourth quarter game. There's just something about that Arizona State team that they just, something about them, man. They just look like they're pretty good. They look like they're pretty good. Levitt, the quarterback's pretty good.
I've honestly only watched that last game.
Yeah, I haven't gone start to finish on any games, but I have found myself watching and then watching again and watching again and watching again. So we'll see. I think there's something there with them. I don't think they're going to beat Texas, by the way. So I guess after all this talk, you pick it up. No, I'm not going to pick it.
But to cover.
Yeah, but
so the semifinals are going to be fantastic, almost regardless of how it goes, because you're either going to have the Cinderella story,
right,
which is always fun, or you're going to have some combination of Georgia, Penn State, Texas, Ohio State, or Texas, Oregon. I mean, that's
juicy.
That is blockbuster stuff.
And by the way, if there's no upsets, then the semifinals are Penn State, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Texas. That's pretty good. That blood couldn't be any bluer.
Yeah.
That will be that, and that's why we wanted this. Is the lead again? I'll say it again. I know Alabama probably didn't belong. They showed it again today. South Carolina is looking like they're showing they don't belong either. They can't hang with. They're losing to Illinois, and Miami also lost. The 3 teams that people thought might should have been in: Alabama, Ole Miss, Alabama, South Carolina, Miami. All might lose, and Ole Miss plays on Thursday night here in town. But in terms of sexiness and appeal and ratings, if we'd have had all those teams in rather than Arizona State and Boise and Indiana, I think people would be buzzing about this thing. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think I think tonight and tomorrow are going to be really good days in college football.
I will say, whoever ends up winning it, what euphoria. I mean, you're experiencing something that no one else can even fathom in terms of the giddiness the ecstasy you are going to feel from having toppled the first 12-team playoff. Whoever is the final team when the confetti is falling, think of the wins. I mean, your regular season, you probably had 4 amazing wins. You might have won your conference title game. You had to win at minimum of 3 games, and in some cases maybe 4. I mean, I can't imagine the thrill. I mean, I've seen my team win the national title in football. I've seen my team win March Madness and repeat. I can't imagine what it would be like to see the Gators win the 12-team play. I can't imagine the joy for whatever fan base ends up being the final one standing here.
Yeah, there's no question. So it will. It'll be very interesting as we watch the next 4 games tonight and then 3 games tomorrow to get a feel for what college football is going to be like. I will say this. I do believe, despite the controversy and discussion and who's in and who's out, and we have some teams that some people think don't belong in, some think do, it feels like it's been a success, doesn't it? It feels like to me it has been. Yeah, there've been blowouts
Not from the first round.
but I disagree. I think
it was terrible.
But that's just it. That's my point. The games weren't great, but it reestablishes how good those teams are. That's the point. I mean, it reestablishes the fact that if Duke and North Carolina and Kansas and Kentucky are playing in this basketball thing and they roll everybody, okay, those games were boring, but I can't wait to see the next round. I can't wait to see when they all four make the Final Four. To your point,
yeah,
and I think I think you're never gonna have a bunch of close games because college football's always been haves and have-nots. It's always been the top 4, 5, 6 teams are better than everybody else. That never is gonna change.
But that was sort of why did we need all of these teams? Do we need more teams in a playoff when we already had blowouts in a 4-team playoff? And of course we had blowouts, like you said. Do we really have 16 teams that are deserving to play for a national title? 12 teams? Do we even have 8?
We'll see.
I would say no.
Yeah, I would say no most years. I do think the committee got saddled with a bad hand this year.
Yeah, but let me be clear about one thing, too. To your point, JJ, the playoff isn't designed just so we have all these great games.
No, I think it's designed to make money.
Yeah, well, and
that's it.
Well, but how many teams are still in it? How many teams are still hoping to have a shot at the thing by November 20th? In the past,
but do they really have a shot?
Well, but that's not the point.
Getting into the
that's not the point.
One thing.
Their fan base thinks they do. That's the point. The fan base gets excited about it. People are talking about, hey, maybe not Boise, Arizona State on November 20th, and here we are on December 31st, still is in it. Well, that's the whole point. Fan bases are in it. There's all these great fan bases that now believe they're in it. Well, in the past, all but 2 or 3 fan bases were out by what? November 1st?
Oh, yeah.
In the past, by November 1st, only a handful of teams could clamor for the prize. I agree with you. Football is going to be harder to have a lot of upsets, but there's way more teams now that are chasing it, legitimately chasing it, and their fan bases are excited about it. I mean, I can tell you this: if the Gators make that playoff next year, if the Gators go 9-3 or 10-2 and get in, okay, they get in. They're 10-2 and get in, and man, I'll be so excited. I'll be so excited in the middle of December.
Well, the Gators, that would mean they'd have a chance to win the national. Right. If the Gators go 10-2, they're one of the best teams in the nation. That's not Arizona State.
Okay. Right,
that's not Boise State. That's not even Penn State. That's totally the Gators' schedule next year is going to be the same as this year. That means they would have had to beaten amazing teams. Of course, you would be excited and you would think they would win the national title.
My point is,
no Boise fan thinks they can win the national title right now.
But my point is, I'd be more excited in the middle of November than I would be if, okay, we're playing Illinois in the Citrus Bowl, which is in the past what 10-2 turned into. The 10-2 team that misses the SEC championship game is playing Michigan in the Outback Bowl. That's
maybe.
Well, that's what history tells us.
With a 4-team playoff, I don't know.
Yeah, most of the time, that's what history has told us. That the 10-2 team mostly is playing in the Outback Bowl. That's what they've done. They play in the Fiesta Bowl. They're playing in what? Maybe not the Outback, maybe one of the New Year's.
Yeah, I agree with that. But
now they may be playing for a title.
I don't think that team deserves to play for a title.
Well, that's a different conversation. The conversation is...
I didn't think Miami did.
But that's not the conversation. What I'm saying is it's successful because more fan bases are excited about the possibility that they might win the title. That's the whole reason that's why, by the way, money, you're right, is the first thing. But that's why everybody expands. Everybody expands, by the way. You know why? You know the proof this is going to expand? Everybody expands. The NCAA tournament expanded, baseball expanded, basketball expanded, football expanded. Football went to 7 teams in each conference, and you know what? They'll expand again because everybody expands.
But I don't think that's good.
Yeah, well,
I hate that.
Yeah. I don't because I think it's more teams have the chance to get excited. So, but anyway, whatever. My point is, I'm glad they did it. I'm glad we're sitting here talking about the fact that there's 8 teams playing for 8 teams that are going to line up tonight and tomorrow.
On New Year's Eve.
On New Year's Eve and then on New Year's Day. There's 8 teams that line up that believe they might win this. I agree with you. I don't think Boise and Arizona State really think it, but...
Hey, give those Boise State fans enough booze. They'll believe it.
Because they don't get much of that. All right, let's take a break. Let's get into some Notre Dame, Georgia talk. Jeff Danzler joins us from the Bulldog Radio Network after this.
It's the ride home with The Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
That's right, I'm Tommy Mack, and it's all about Duval and defense. Offense, special teams, baby. Check me out every Friday from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
PRP treatment is kind of the thing these days, and in many cases, it eliminates the need for surgery. This is Sheridan Tootin, and my experience with PRP from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has been nothing short of great. I'm really feeling much better now. Ask your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist doctor about PRP treatment.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. While other books make promises, MyBookie delivers. This holiday season, they're stacking the deck in your favor with 12 days of Christmas now through the 31st, a festive lineup of can't-miss opportunities for bettors to cash in. Risk-free Thursdays, super boosts, and free bets. Weekly casino giveaways with hundreds of winners and thousands in cash prizes. All it takes is a 50-cent spin on BetSoft slots to enter. With the road to New Orleans, bowl games galore, and a Christmas Day sports feast featuring NFL action and an NBA doubleheader, this is your season to win. The 12 Days of Christmas event is live right now. Lock in today. Use my code 1010XL with your first deposit, and MyBookie will give you a little extra to start your holiday hot. MyBookie is offering a 50% deposit bonus for 1010XL listeners. Just sign up and use promo code 1010XL. There's a reason MyBookie has been the go-to for serious bettors for 10 years. Make your holiday season a jolly one with MyBookie.
Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels, inviting you to join me and Bud Light at Top Dog Sports Tavern for the Jags game this Sunday. Let's close out the season and toast to new beginnings. Hopefully. We'll be at the Top Dog Tavern with prizes and beers, so join me for a chance to win Jaguars tickets for next season.
Follow Florida Gators men's basketball on 1010XL. Brought to you by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators.
Jacksonville Cougars. It's me, Soccer Sam from Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizzeria is now open in Jacksonville, Florida. Tapestry Park at the Lost Hotel Plaza. $10 daily deals, dine-in beer and wine, and delivery. Salvatores.com.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey folks, Dave Benyon here with Zero Res. At Zero Res, we love rugs. We will treat your fine Oriental rugs with the tender and loving care they deserve. Gerard, the Zero Res rug manager, is one of the few certified master rug cleaners in Florida. If you want your rugs cleaned with tender loving care, call Zero Res. Right now, get your rugs washed and we will give you 25% off. Zero Res, spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. In today's world of retail, how has a store like Underwoods stayed viable against the big national stores?
Frank, that's a question with a direct answer. At Underwoods, we've never aspired to be the biggest. What we've always tried to do is be the best. When you take this approach, there's some things that come to mind immediately, like fine quality merchandise bought by buyers that are experts, high levels of service delivered by a staff that are helpful and know what they're doing. Then there's some things that people don't really think about at all, like the finer a gem, the more rare it is. And these gems are not mass producible because they were made by God millions of years ago. Because of that, there just aren't enough of these for the big multi-store retailers to buy and put into their merchandising schemes. So at Underwoods, we buy these finer, rarer gems and create jewelry pieces that the people in Jacksonville expect out of us.
When you want the best, it's Underwoods. Underwood Jewelers in San Marco, in Avondale, and at the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Tailgate special alert. 3 pounds of marinated chicken, 2 pounds of marinated steak tips, 2 pounds of fresh ground beef, and 2 pounds of homemade sausage for only $80 to feed your crew.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm RJ Saunders for 1010XL. Bowl season action continues on the Superstation, as on Thursday we'll showcase the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl between number 14 Ole Miss and Duke. Our coverage will begin at 7:30 p.m. on 92.5 FM. And on Friday, we'll broadcast the Duke's Mayo Bowl battle between Minnesota and Virginia Tech, beginning at 7:30 p.m. on 1010 a.m. The Orlando Magic enjoy another day off following their come-from-behind victory against the Brooklyn Nets. Orlando will open the new year going toe-to-toe versus Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons. Pre-game, in-game, and post-game will begin New Year's Day at 6:30 on 1010XL. The JU Dolphins will square off against Lipscomb on the hardwood. You can catch all the action right here beginning at 7 p.m. on Thursday on 1010 a.m. Right now, 76 degrees at 5 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Time now for the College Football Insider, brought to you by the law firm of Woolsey Morcom on The Frangie Show.
All right, Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon with you. Let's talk some Georgia Bulldog football. Nobody knows the Dogs better than my buddy Jeff Dantzler, who checks in from Athens from the Bulldog Radio Network. Jeff, how are you, buddy?
Frank, always great to hear from you, my friend. Happy New Year to you. My lovely bride, Emily's sitting here with me and just wishing you nothing but the best for 2025.
Well, Happy New Year to you and Emily for sure. The Bulldogs and Notre Dame in a Sugar Bowl with the national championship on the line. It's happened before, Jeff. You know that, right? It's happened before in that game.
Yeah, I was 8, and I felt like I'd peaked for the rest of my life. And then, thank goodness, Indianapolis happened. So it's crazy. This is the 4th time the two have ever met, and the first 3 were all epic, great games. I mean, 17-10 to win the national title. And then Kirby's second year, Frank, and you know this, that was kind of the game. Georgia won in South Bend 20-19. That was kind of the game that got the dynasty rolling because that was his second year and his first great year. And it's been all great years since then. And then a terrific game in Athens in 2019 that Georgia won 23-17. So I figure this one will be very similar. I just hope the Dogs find a way.
And I do think it'll be similar. All right, Jeff, the obvious question. Let's not bury the lead here. Gunnar Stockton's the quarterback now. Carson Beck is down. How much does that change Georgia? How different will they play? How much will it affect how good they are? What's your read on the Gunnar Stockton Dogs who we're going to see now?
There's a tremendous amount of confidence in Gunnar Stockton from the team, from the coaches, and from the fan base. He certainly sensed that. And I think for this team, and Frank, you know this, my friend, it's just been one of those years between the schedules and the inordinate number of injuries. Kirby's just had a lot to overcome with this team this year. He's done a great job. The team's done a great job. Georgia's been behind in 9 out of 13 games this season, and we've kind of gotten spoiled in Athens with so many wins and the championships and also some large margins of victory. So I think this team will respond. Carson has done a lot of great things in his Georgia career, and I know, Frank, you know the Beck family very well, being Jacksonville natives, and To me, just as big a blow, though, was losing our punter, Brett Thorson, who was having an All-American year. And you talk about things that go through your mind, Frank. You've known me a long time, and I grew up at the pessimistic church of Vince Dooley and Larry Munson. I'm sitting there in the fourth quarter against Texas. We lose Beck and Thorson. Gunnar Stockton comes in. We're down to our third holder in the game. But everything went okay there. That just kind of goes back then. And whether it's a Steve Spurrier, a Vince Dooley, or a Nick Saban, or a Kirby Smart, for the great coaches, that little extra ounce of preparation pays off. And then I think the thing you saw with Gunnar, and you've seen this through the years, NFL and college, Frank, guys are going to get hurt. Other players are going to get their numbers called. It's one thing to step in there. It's another thing to be prepared. And Gunnar was clearly prepared when he got his number called. So there's a great deal of confidence in him going into New Orleans.
Jeff, it's great to talk with you. Happy New Year. What concerns you the most? Thank you so much. What concerns you the most about Notre Dame? What challenge do you think will be the greatest that they present for Georgia?
I just see a top-to-bottom really, really good team. Their offense, 49 points in 6 out of 13 games. And give them credit. Since they lost that game to Northern Illinois, and we all do our polls and the early playoff prediction, you kind of write them off. I saw the number today. Their average margin of victory is 29 points per game since then. And I get it. USC was a little bit down, and Florida State had a terrible year. But still, they just went out there and absolutely mauled people. So the way they've been able to respond, and we're big, big fans of Marcus Freeman, the head coach there. It's one of those deals. We played Cincinnati in the COVID year in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. And I just remember being so impressed with him and saying, Marcus is one of those guys, if Kirby ever needed an opening, he might be the next defensive coordinator. Well, next thing you know, 11 months later, the guy's the head coach at Notre Dame. So he is clearly on a fast track. I think the way Riley Leonard can run it and throw it, what they've got at running back, and, of course, that they're typical big and strong up front, and they have got playmakers in the secondary. And when you look at great teams, they make field-flipping plays. And to me, the big key of their win against Southern Cal, they had 2 pick sixes in the game, and that's what great teams do.
When the field was set, Jeff, even without Carson Beck, I've picked Georgia to win the whole thing, and I'll stand by that because I still think Georgia has more good players than everybody else. Now, look, Ohio State's got a lot of good players, too. Oregon's got a lot of good players. But I think Georgia has more good players, more guys that I'm going to call their names on Sundays than anybody else playing. But I do get the sense Notre Dame's closing the gap on some of these power teams. You know what I mean? I think they've closed the gap on the Ohio States and the Alabamas. I think it's a really close game. I think that – where do you see the talent differential between these two in your mind?
No, I agree. I think it's very, very even. There might be some spots, say Notre Dame might have an edge here, Georgia might have an edge there, but I don't think there's this just tremendous disparity. To me, one of the big keys for Georgia is going to be, can the Dogs go out there and run the football? And, Frank, we can get into this when the season's over, but seeing what happened to Alabama today, when I look at the SEC right now, the SEC doesn't run the football like the SEC used to run the football. And I don't know if it's back to being too quarterback-centric or what, but 14, 15, and 16 in the SEC rushing this year were Oklahoma, Georgia, and LSU. And I joked with a couple of friends. I said, if I'd have told Kirby after the second national title, hey, guess what, bud? In 2 years, we're going to be next to last in the SEC in rushing, he would have either had a stroke or slapped me.
Right.
But the bottom line is that the backs, the league, for whatever reason, we're just not running the ball the way we used to. Now, I think you saw in the 2 wins over Texas, Georgia did a really good job running the football. And to me, I think that's going to be one of the big keys. And that lets Gunnar do what Gunnar does well, and that's run and throw off a play action. So to me, ATN, the little brother, your great back for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the freshman Nate Frazier, they're going to be huge keys for Georgia's chances at victory.
Jeff, in terms of the rest factor here, is there any concern on Georgia's side just in the fact that Notre Dame has played more recently and maybe is a little more finer tuned, or is that not a concern for Georgia, who obviously is accustomed to having long breaks and then playing with gigantic stakes.
Let me answer you this with both. This is just a great Kirby story. So, and you guys know this, and Frank, you've been around him since he played at Georgia. After the win, hey, this is so big, we needed the break, and we really did. We've been beaten up again between the schedule and the injuries, and just that going through a year again with that target on your chest. So yeah, we definitely need the break. About 3-4 days later, he's, golly, I just worry about us losing our edge. It's going to be too long before. So you know how it is with the great coaches. They want it both ways. So I do think big picture, having the break does turn out to be better. But there's no doubt. I mean, how many times we've seen it in the NFL or you see it in Major League Baseball that you have that team that wins the wild card that comes in hot. They're the ones coming in with all the momentum. So I think it's and let's take this into account too. Notre Dame, I think it evens out because they didn't have a conference title game. So both teams have played 13 games.
I'll tell you this, and I've said this too on the air throughout the last week or two. If Georgia wins the national championship, they played Clemson. Now, Clemson wasn't playing well at the time, but they played Clemson. They played at Texas. They played at Ole Miss. They played at Alabama. That's stupid. They played Florida really when Florida was starting to find themselves a little bit. Mm-hmm. If Georgia wins this title, this will be as well-earned a title maybe as any of their titles, Jeff, or anybody else's titles. I mean, when you look back at the schedule that Georgia played, it's all, and Florida had one like that too, but Florida's not in the game now. It's almost comical that they overcame that. Would this one almost mean more because of all that?
No, I agree with you 100%, Frank. I've said before, I think this could be, when I think about maybe Kirby's two best coaching jobs, I think this one, and then in the COVID year, 2020, Georgia lost 2 games that year to Alabama, and then to that Florida team with Trask, and we had 3 different starting quarterbacks that year. I thought those were probably that job, and I think what he's done this year are the 2 best jobs that he's done. And again, Frank, you were so close to it, and this is something you don't really realize till it hits you, but it's during the Spurrier era and what Bama went through with Saban, although it's a good problem to have. When you're that guy and you've got that target on your chest every game, it can wear you down. So I'm really, really proud of the way this team has responded this year.
Final thing before we let you go. What you told me before the season, Hays and I were just talking about this at the top of the show today. You told me before the season that you thought Georgia and Texas would play 3 times. Well, they've played twice. Do you still think that if you had a pick, if you were betting your money, if Emily was letting you bet your money right now, okay, would that still be the game? Do you still think they're going to play again?
Frank, by the way, let's start with this. If you're Oregon, how'd you like to be number 1 and the only undefeated team, and you get Ohio State, and then if you beat them, you're probably getting Texas and Dallas.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, congratulations. Nice bracket you're in, right?
Good job, guys.
Right.
Great job, though. I think we've talked about that. That it didn't turn out as we thought with Clemson getting the 12, but that 5 seed is really the sweet spot. Again, we could do shows on this for hours for how the seeding goes on this. I think you're going to see Texas versus Ohio State in a massive game.
Right.
And I think Georgia wins a close one against Notre Dame. And I give Boise a puncher's chance tonight. Do you give Boise a shot against Penn State?
I don't. I think Penn State's got too many more good players. That's why I think there's mismatches in these first couple of rounds. I'd be surprised if they're close at all in that game.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, and you know this too, from the early 80s, the Georgia beat Texas in the Cotton Bowl after the 83 season. We beat Notre Dame in 80, and then Penn State broke my heart. I was in tears at age 10 in New Orleans. So if it turns out where it's a Notre Dame, Texas, Penn State thing again, I'm telling you, that retro going back to the 80s, it's crazy.
Yeah, no question about it. Well, Georgia, let's see what happens tomorrow night. Georgia, Notre Dame. I like the dogs in the game, but I think it's going to be the best game of the 4, and I can't wait to watch it. Jeff Dancer, check it in. Talking Georgia football. He's the best in the business. Jeff, thanks, buddy. We appreciate it.
Thanks. Love you, my friend. Appreciate you, Hays. Talk to y'all soon.
All right. Thank you,
Happy
Jeff.
New Year.
We appreciate it. Jeff Dancer does a fantastic job. We'll take a break. Hays has headlines after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
In every game, there's a limited number of drives.
On best, here we go.
And there's only one drive of the game.
That's a good old-fashioned rear end whipping.
Listen for the Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville drive of the game on 1010XL. Now, the Randy Marion Cadillac drive of the game. Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville. Drive to the game in luxury with Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville.
The duo of Mac Jones and Brian Thomas Jr. brought the magic when the teal and black needed it most, and also made it look effortless. Thanks to a 16-play sequence capped off by a Brian Thomas Jr. touchdown, Jacksonville would take a 20-10 lead with 7:05 left in the fourth. The 74-yard drive is your Randy Marion Cadillac drive of the game.
Hey, John, are you a small business owner looking to make the most of your investments?
Absolutely. And now is the time to take advantage of some incredible tax deductions.
You can qualify for a 2024 tax deduction for up to 60% of the purchase price of a brand new Cadillac.
Think Escalade, Lyric, Optic, XT5, and XT6.
We have over 100 in stock at Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville. It's the perfect time to upgrade your business fleet.
This is not tax advice. Consult with your tax advisor for further details and to determine eligibility, plus tax tag title $8.99 admin fee and resist all and approved credit.
Hi, I'm Frank Frangie, and I've depended on South State for my banking needs as long as they've been serving Duval. Whether you're saving for retirement, purchasing a home, starting a business, your goals are their commitment. With forward-thinking, personalized banking solutions and best-in-class service, South State is ready to help you navigate your financial journey. Connect at southstatebank.com or drop by any of the 5 local South State offices. South State Bank, member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Hey, Florida drivers, the holiday season is upon us. When celebrating, always plan ahead and know all your options. If you drink, don't get behind the wheel. Instead, designate a sober driver or catch a ride service. And if you are the designated sober driver, commit to staying sober. Besides, a DUI could cost you $10,000. Not exactly the best gift you could give yourself. Celebrate responsibly and remember to drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
Spend lunchtime with the ladies.
Hey, where's your sense of adventure?
They don't cook, but they serve up spicy sports talk.
Sure, it's on the menu.
Helmets and heels.
That is a meal.
Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans on 1010XL.
Hacker here, and for the first time in nearly 20 years, I finally get to have a different resolution. Like most of you, mine was always to lose weight. I'd try something for a few weeks, maybe lose a pound or two, and then give up. Well, I tried. Starting the new year with Awaken 180 isn't a try. It's a sure thing. And why will you stick with it? Because instead of a pound or two, you'll see results right out of the gate. We all need motivation. After my first 3 weeks with Awaken 180, I was already down 30 pounds. Granted, I had a lot of weight to lose, but look at Dempsey, look at Matt Hays. Those guys had results out of the gate too. Dempsey dropped 9 pounds his first week, Matt dropped 12 pounds. Regardless of the weight you need to drop, seeing those fast results will motivate you to reach your goal. Guys, girls, losing weight regardless of how many times you've tried is possible with Awaken 180. Make the sure bet and make 2025 the last time losing weight is your New Year's resolution. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Hello, sports fans. Hicken here. Let's talk skin. Iron Beaches Dermatology are reminding you to wear your sunscreen. If you're an active parent hanging at the fields, in your boat to fish, or like to chill at the sandbar, wear sunscreen. But if you're the one that decided for years it's not cool, guess what? Cancer isn't cool either. So when grabbing the clubs for your tee time, gassing up the boat, or grabbing the chairs for your kids' games, make sure you bring the screen. Any concerns now? Give Beaches Dermatology a call online at beachesdermatology.com.
This holiday season, send someone you love a beautiful arrangement from Kuhn Flowers. Frank Frangie here, and I know that when you order from Kuhn, you'll show them how much you care. Online at kuhnflowers.com.
What presidents are on Mount Rushmore? The answer next.
Hurricane season is here, and now is the time to ask your agent about your homeowner's coverage. It's time to make the change to Southern Oak Insurance.
Our family protecting yours, Southern Oak Insurance.
George Washington, Abe Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, and Teddy Roosevelt are sculpted on Mount Rushmore.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their REME Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, Happy New Year from our friends at Harold & Harold. Give them a call at 251-1111. Welcome back to the Frangie Show. We've got Frank Frangie, JJ LaSelva. I'm Hays Carlyon. Frank, a couple old coaches are throwing their hat in the ring this carousel. Pete Carroll and John Gruden are making it known through their allies in the media that they are ready for another chance as an NFL head coach. Does either Pete Carroll or John Gruden, in your opinion, would they be a viable candidate for any of these NFL clubs that are open?
I don't think either one of them are going to get hired. If Bill Belichick could barely got a sniff, he got a sniff in Atlanta, I suppose. I don't think they will. I think Gruden is too damaged. I think the emails damaged him. Fair or not, I think he's too damaged. Otherwise, I think he would have already been coaching. I think the email stuff damaged him. I think he'd have gotten a crack. I love Pete Carroll. I'm a big Pete Carroll fan. I don't know that at 73 though, any owner's going to say this is. Remember, if you're hiring a coach, there's some rebuilding somehow. There's rebuilding, reloading, retooling. You're having to build, whether it's building culture, whether it's rebuilding a roster. If you have to hire a new coach, you got to build something. And I don't know that a 72-year-old guy's going to come in there. So, but I'm a big Pete Carroll. By the way, 72 looks like he's going on 58. But I don't sense either one get hurt. Now, what about you? You think either one get in the hunt?
I would hire Pete Carroll before John Gruden. But I would agree. Pete Carroll is actually older than Belichick.
He is a year older.
Yeah, so I would sort of agree. I think at this point, I mean, it would depend on which organization you're talking about, but yeah, I would say that for me they'd be pretty far down the list, even though obviously they've had outstanding careers. Monday Night Football concluded Week 17's action last night. The Lions beat the 49ers 40-34. My God, Ben Johnson. What that man designs offensively in Detroit is exquisite. There was another lateral touchdown last night, but even forgetting the sizzle and the gimmicks that he just always seems to work for Detroit, they had 439 yards. They were 9 of 14 on third down. The Lions are averaging 33.3 points per game this season. That leads the NFL by 1.5 points. It is incredible what Detroit's offense is.
Here's the interesting thing. For the people that want a change here in Jacksonville, they're going to be talking about wanting Ben Johnson. I also tell you there's going to be 4 talk shows right now in downtown Chicago talking about how they want Ben Johnson. There's a talk show in Jersey that covers the Jets.
Yep.
That's talking about how they want Ben Johnson. There's a talk show in Gonzales, Louisiana that talks about the Saints. They're going to be talking about how they want Ben Johnson. 2 things. Number one, A, only one team's going to get him. B, boy, the pressure on that guy to be the next Sean McVay or whatever. So it'll be interesting wherever he winds up to follow the whole Ben Johnson thing. It really will.
Without a doubt. The on the other side of that game, the 49ers dropped to 6-10 in a very disappointing year and lost their quarterback. Brock Purdy injured his elbow. He is unlikely to play in the finale, according to Coach Kyle Shanahan, but it does not appear to be any sort of serious injury for Brock Purdy. But it begs the question, Frank, now that all the data is in, Brock Purdy eligible for that extension, should the 49ers make him the next $55 million guy?
Here's the problem there. I think he's their quarterback. I think he's a good player. And I think you have to, and that's what happens if everybody extends their $50 million quarterback. But I don't know if he's that guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers come with an offer, an extension, but not one that matches the Burrow, Trevor dollars. I think he'll get an offer, and then he's got to decide. Because I don't know, Brock Purdy's good, but I don't know if he says no to the $38 million a year extension, if he can leave and get this somewhere else. So I think his situation is a little different.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see as the offseason plays out. Usually those deals, as we know, get done, sometime in training camp. So probably several more months before we have any real idea on Brock Purdy. He could play the final year of his deal, and then the 49ers could franchise tag him or let him hit the market if they don't do the extension. The Eagles are not sure if they're going to let star running back Saquon Barkley go for Eric Dickerson's single-season rushing record this Sunday as they conclude their season. Barkley needs 101 yards to catch Dickerson. The Eagles have wrapped up the NFC East and the second seed in the tournament, so really nothing to play for. Should Philadelphia let Saquon risk the injury to try and get the record?
Yes. A lot of people say no, all that matters is winning, hold them out, opt out, hold them out. Yes, it's a record that has been talked about forever. It was talked about forever when O.J. Simpson held it. It was talked about forever when Eric Dickerson beat him out. 2,000 yards was talked about forever when Derrick Henry got there, and I know Saquon's already there. Yes, it's one of the most talked about records in football, and I would play him till he got to 101 or 102. Yes. And not only would I play him, but I would feed him the ball. I would play him and I would feed him the ball. I hope he doesn't get hurt because I'm not saying a record matters more than the Super Bowl, but I am saying that not every record, that record is a pretty amazing one, and he's earned the chance to try and go get it. So my answer is yes.
Absolutely. Let's get into college football. Penn State versus Boise State tonight in the Fiesta Bowl, the first quarterfinal of the playoff. What kind of game do you think we'll see tonight?
I think Penn State will beat them and they'll cover. Like I said to Jeff Dancer a minute ago, Hayes, I think in football it's hard. Football is so physical. You're big and strong and long and fast. And when one guy is that and the other guy's not, I think the Blue Bloods have way more of that. I mean, the fact that Penn State won so big right out of the gate against SMU tells you, I mean, SMU didn't have a bad team. They were pretty good. They're pretty good. They lost the ACC championship game at the very end of the game to Clemson. It looked like it was headed to overtime. So they're pretty good. But these Blue Bloods have way too many big, strong, fast players. And I think that'll be the case tonight as well.
Canes coach Mario Cristobal has fired defensive coordinator Lance Guidry after 2 seasons. Had to be done.
Yeah, let's bring in J.J. LaSelva. He hails from Central Ocala. Surprised by that? Glad by that?
No, I was surprised it didn't happen yesterday, actually. Oh, my God. I mean, they ruined the season for us on defense, and they've already shoved a couple guys in the portal. Luckily, they've got a bunch of dudes coming from the portal on defense, but now the problem is the offense looks terrible without a quarterback. So it's like the Jags. Whenever the offense is good, the defense is bad, and vice versa. Not to that level, but yeah, Guidry had to go. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
He did have to go. I mean, sometimes you got to go.
Yeah, without a doubt.
You can't give up like 40 points against every single team.
That's right.
Everybody.
Except Florida.
Team. Yeah.
But let's get it to staying in the ACC. Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik has announced he is coming back to the Tigers next season. He is 19-9 as a starter with 2 ACC title game MVPs on his resume.
You know, he's really evolved. He was a 5-star recruit out of Texas. Came in with a lot of fanfare. I called the first game he ever played in. I had that Clemson Georgia Tech game his freshman year. It was a Monday night game. and there was all the rage about him. DJ Uiagalelei was the starting quarterback, but there was talk even then that Klubnik would be the better of the two players. But then it took him a while, didn't it? He wasn't a star when he came onto the scene. He needs another year of college football. He's very athletic. He's as good a runner as he is a passer. He's a tough guy. I'll bet Cade Klubnik has a heck of a year like next year. And he's one of these guys that by coming back another year when he might could have gotten into, might could have been drafted, I'll bet he has a heck of a year.
Alabama, lots of college football action that we will update you on. Today has been very busy as we lead into tonight's Fiesta Bowl. The day started with Alabama losing to Michigan 19-13 in the ReliaQuest Bowl. Kalen DeBoer finishes 9-4 in his first season in Tuscaloosa.
Give me the stat you gave me a minute ago.
So the Crimson Tide were a 17-point favorite in this game and lost. So it's the third time this season that Kalen DeBoer has lost as a 14-point favorite. He's 6-3 now with Alabama as a 14 or more point favorite.
So Saban was probably 8-3 or 9-3 in that setting.
Nick
right?
Saban 135-3 in his tenure. So DeBoer has already lost as many times as a 2-touchdown favorite as Saban did his entire dynasty.
As a 2-touchdown favorite, Nick Saban was 135-3. Kalen DeBoer is 6-3. That's an amazing stat.
But I mean, honestly, they're not going to tolerate 9-4 very long there.
Yeah, again, Saban was 7-6 his first year there. So you're given a little bit of time, but but the bar's a little different now, and because of what Saban did, and the world's different now. Everybody fires coaches way faster now than they did before, so we'll see.
He might be stuck on 6-3 because they might never be favored by that much.
They do open with the Noles.
True.
Well, yeah, at least not until next year's opener. At least not until then.
I'll give him 6 months.
Louisville and Washington are in a very exciting Sun Bowl. The Cardinals lead at 35-28. We're pretty deep into the fourth there.
And Washington has the ball at the 2-yard line.
Wow.
With 15 seconds left.
Wow. So we will keep you updated. South Carolina in the Citrus Bowl has taken a 10-7 lead over Illinois. LSU is killing Baylor in the Texas Bowl. They're up 34-17 at halftime. Any of those games, Frank, do anything for you in terms of significance?
I will say this. You mentioned the Louisville game a minute ago. I'll say this. I am really intrigued to see where Jeff Brom's career ends. Is it end at his alma mater? He's earned his way there. He was very good at Western Kentucky. He was very good at Purdue. And now he's at his alma mater. But why do I think there's a blue blood in his future? Do you feel that way?
Yes.
I think there's a blue blood in it. I don't know if it's Michigan or Ohio State or LSU, but I feel there's a blue blood in Jeff Brom's future. So
one of the best offensive minds in college.
Yeah, he really is.
I love watching Louisville play.
And I still think you have to throw Florida in there.
Yeah.
Just because
I do too.
If by some chance he goes 7-5, I don't know that he gets a fourth year.
Yeah,
now maybe he does, but I think even Napier, while things look like they're trending, I still think Florida needs to kind of still be not at the top of the list, like he was 2 months ago, but somewhere on the list of a job that could open.
Yeah, I think so too. I would now be surprised if the Florida job opens in another year or two, but I wouldn't be surprised if after this current cycle of players, I don't necessarily think Billy Napier's winning 10 or 11 games every year. So we'll have to. I'm not saying he's not. I think we'll have to see. But I think the Louisville game is because I'm very interested to see where Jeff Brom's career ends.
Yes, I agree. I think he's a rising star, no doubt about it. Let's get some predictions from you, Frank. Let's start with that Sugar Bowl. Georgia, Notre Dame. What kind of game do you think we'll see?
Best game of the four. Tough, physical, hard-nosed, helmets popping off, a little bit of jawing every now and then. I think Georgia's going to win in what I think will be the most enjoyable game to watch of all of these games. Georgia 31-27 kind of game.
And that'd be interesting. That'd be higher scoring than what I think it'll be, but it certainly looks like it's going to be an entertaining game. That would mean Georgia and Penn State play in the semifinal. Let's get to the other side of the bracket. Who do you like in Texas, Arizona State? And, let's just start with that. Longhorns, Sun Devils. Who do you like?
Texas, and they'll pull away and probably win by 10. But I think it's a closer game than people think. I think that one's close for a while. and I think they could pull away at the end, but I like Texas in the game.
And then Oregon, Ohio State.
I like Ohio State. I think I know everybody loves Oregon. I say that they're the underdogs, so maybe not everybody, but I think Ohio State found something last week. I think Tennessee's pretty good, and I mean they took them to the woodshed, man. Ohio State might have found something. They're going to be a tough out. I'll take the Buckeyes.
The Gator Bowl is Thursday. Ole Miss versus Duke. Do you think the Rebels cruise?
I think they win. I think they've got more good players than Duke. Duke had a little something going, but obviously lost their quarterback. So Ole Miss has theirs. But again, tip of the cap to Greg McGarity. The bowl landscape is harder to navigate than ever, and you are certainly at the whims of the conference. You're at the whims of what these leagues want to do. It used to be you went and invited who you wanted. Now you take who they give you, and I think it's a good game, and I think they'll do well, and I hope they draw a good crowd.
The portal is officially closed for the majority of power schools. That includes the Florida Gators. Frank, what's your overview of how Florida did in terms of player retention?
Yeah, well, good point. The portal is closed. I'm glad you said it perfectly. The portal is closed, meaning you can't go into it anymore. You still can pull players out of it that are in it, but so retention is the question today, not what you got. I like the way you said that. They did well. I'm disappointed in a few. I'm probably disappointed in the Pyburn and TJ Searcy ones more than any of the others. The rest of the players they lost were mostly backups. Pyburn leaving, I hated to see that. Again, I'll say what I said again. Not about how good the team will be, but the legacy that I thought he could have had if he stayed. So I hate that for him. But overall, other than Pyburn and Searcy, they didn't lose anybody else that concerned me. Nobody else jumps to mind. Do you feel that way?
Yes, I actually think I'd give it like an A-.
Yeah. I mean, the fact if you talk about not losing to the portal or to the draft, I think, and assuming Sapp and Banks and all those guys don't go to the draft, I think the retention was good.
Well, and I've had a nightmare like every night for the last 30 days that DJ Lagway took a $12 million offer from Ohio State.
And now that's not happening.
So now you don't have to worry about that until April when the portal opens again.
Well, there's a 5-day rule. So for all the teams in the playoff and who play today.
Yeah, it's not every school, but Florida is among the majority of power schools that now the portal is closed for.
Yeah.
But yes,
if
you're
they're
right.
one of these other teams, they have 5 days after the season. So the Gators can still get plenty of guys.
Oh, yeah. This is just about retention. They just, if you're currently on Florida's roster, you can't now go into the portal. But yeah, that's going to get us out on our musical note of the day. Happy New Year. What else do you think we're going to play? We're going to play Bing Crosby's version of Auld Lang Syne, released in 1948. Be safe. Here's to a wonderful and prosperous 2025.
You got a little bit of old soul in you, and I love you for it. Happy New Year, everybody. Back to wrap the program in just a bit. And days of Auld Lang Syne.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The college football postseason continuing Tuesday night. Quarterfinal matchup. It's the Fiesta Bowl as number 4 Penn State will take on number 9 Boise State in Arizona. The Nittany Lions are coming off a 28-point win against SMU. Boise State earning a first-round bye, have the nation's leading rusher in Ashton Genty. Penn State an 11-point favorite, minus 115 against the spread, while Boise State getting the 11 points or minus 105. On the money line, Penn State minus 450, Boise State plus 340, and the over-under point total is at 53.5. The winner will face either Georgia or Notre Dame. Those two teams play New Year's Day at the Sugar Bowl. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles update. Protecting your cards from moisture and sunlight is a big step in keeping their long-term value. At Showtime, we recently received a new shipment of Zion cases, a variety of sizes and colors to pick from. With Zion cases at Showtime, Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
They've
Benyon here with Zero Res. Did you know that Zero Res does an excellent job of cleaning commercial carpet? We clean hundreds of businesses and churches all over town. If your carpet is due for a good cleaning, give Zero Res a call. For 1 week only, December 26th through the 31st, we are offering 20% off on all commercial carpet cleaning. We will be glad to come do a free estimate. Give us a call and take advantage of this great deal during the Christmas break. That's 20% off on all commercial carpet cleaning. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. While other books make promises, MyBookie delivers. This holiday season, they're stacking the deck in your favor with 12 days of Christmas now through the 31st, a festive lineup of can't-miss opportunities for bettors to cash in, risk-free Thursdays, super boosts, and free bets. Weekly casino giveaways with hundreds of winners and thousands in cash prizes. All it takes is a 50-cent spin on BetSoft slots to enter. With the road to New Orleans, bowl games galore, and a Christmas Day sports feast featuring NFL action and an NBA doubleheader, this is your season to win. The 12 Days of Christmas event is live right now. Lock in today. Use my code 1010XL with your first deposit, and MyBookie will give you a little extra to start your holiday hot. MyBookie is offering a 50% deposit bonus for 1010XL listeners. Just sign up and use promo code 1010XL. There's a reason MyBookie has been the go-to for serious bettors for 10 years. Make your holiday season a jolly one with MyBookie.
This holiday season, give your home the gift that keeps on giving. Beautiful, energy-efficient windows and doors from Renewal by Andersen. With our exclusive Fibrix material, you'll enjoy windows that keep the cold out and the warmth in, perfect for those cozy nights by the fire. Limited time offer. Call today. Buy one, get one 40% off windows and doors. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com. Restrictions apply. License number CGC 1527613.
Cigar smokers, All-Pro Lyman Leon Cersei here for my favorite spot, Cigars International. The Cigars International Superstore is now open at the Town Center, a massive 6,200 square feet with over 600 cigar brands. A full-service bar and indoor and outdoor lounges with flat-screen TVs. Give their old-fashioned a try. It's the best that I've ever had. Follow on social for holiday specials and events. Cigars International is now open at the Town Center.
Tony Baselli gets up early Monday morning to share a big football breakfast with you.
Some French toast and sausage patties.
Hall of Fame Monday, 7:20 with Dan and Jeff on the Drill. Brought to you by Heritage Roofing of North Florida on 1010XL.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Hey folks, Dave Benyon with Zero Res. I asked my wife what she wants for Christmas, and she said the same thing she does every year. She wants a clean home full of family and friends. That means the carpets, the tile and grout, the large oriental rug in our family room, and the huge sectional sofa that everyone loves to hang out on all need a good Zero Res cleaning. Give Zero Res a call and get your carpets cleaned for only $49 a room, and get your tile and grout cleaned for 25% off. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Now, the Performance Painting High Performance Play of the Game. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
The Titans learned a valuable lesson when it comes to defending Brian Thomas Jr. No matter how hard they try, their arms are simply too short to box with a football god. Matt Jones would find the rookie wide out for an incredible highlight-grabbing TD, making the score 20-13 with 7:05 left in regulation. The BTJ score is your Performance Painting Play of the Game.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago. And man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988. So call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars analyst Jeff Lageman on the mental development of Trevor Lawrence.
With Trevor, I think he's developed and he's become more aware, and I think he has definitely advanced in that category, but he's not there yet. He's not a polished product, and a lot of people want to ask the question, well, if he's not a polished product, why did we give him the contract extension? Well, that's just kind of doing business in the National Football League nowadays. And you hope that, in a couple of years when we look back at Trevor's contract, you look back on it and say, you know what, we got Super Bowl wins, and really he's underpaid. You hope that, but right now I wouldn't say that you're going to say that. But again, the process of learning for a quarterback, it is continual.
With your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update, I'm Andrew Gibson.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, where have we been over the course of the program today? We've certainly talked a lot of Jaguar football, a little bit of Jaguar football. Certainly Ben Johnson in the news, and Byron Leftwich talking about whether or not he was offered the job, which he wasn't, and all that kind of stuff. We'll talk more Jags. Colts coming up on Thursday's program. Hope the Jags can get that final win. It'd be great to win to finish the season with 2 consecutive wins. A lot of bowl talk today on the program. We've kept you up to date. Louisville barely beat Washington in a fantastic game, 35-34. South Carolina leads Illinois now 17-14 in a back-and-forth game between SEC and Big Ten teams. That one's been kind of fun to watch. Speaking of SEC, Big Ten, Michigan beat Alabama earlier today. We talked about that. Brett Hastings stopped by today and talked about this lawsuit between FSU trying to sue, or is suing, players from FSU are suing Leonard Hamilton. Former basketball players are suing Leonard Hamilton. We talked about that today on the program. And Jeff Dantzler joined us from the Bulldog Radio Network as he's getting ready, as we all are, for Georgia and South Carolina.
These bowl games are getting feisty.
Yeah,
Frank.
what's happening between Shane Beamer? Does Shane Beamer want to fight Brett Bielema?
They do. I'll take you.
Who do you like there?
Oh, my God. Bielema, of course.
Bielema's
Just lay on
bigger.
him with all that weight,
Yeah,
bro.
but Shane Beamer's quick.
He is.
He's a
but
stick and
once
move
a guy like that gets your hands on you, man, Bielema, I like him in a fight. So this is what happened. Apparently, there's been a lot of substitutions the whole game, and that can get annoying. Some people are, fake injuries or whatever. So while there's a player on the field, Bielema goes up to check and to see if he's okay. He looks over at the sideline for South Carolina, stares right at Beamer, and does the stretches your arms like the officials do for the sign for substitutions. Basically trolling him because they've been beating them by doing these substitutions all day. And obviously they've been going at it. It didn't just start there,
He made a run at him.
Beamer,
He ran at him.
He gets held back by 4 of his guys. And we're still in the third quarter, so it's not like this was the end of the game. But, yeah, Lenore Sellers just went into the end zone, found his tight end for a short touchdown. They're now up 17-14, early fourth quarter.
Wow. And then now they're Bielema was walking over to the sideline. I didn't see that. I just saw
after that, it got even more heated during the commercial break.
Yeah, and Beamer,
wow.
Beamer was hot.
Oh, he's pissed.
Beamer wants to fight him. That is fantastic. That is just fantastic. Oh, God bless them both.
I love this. I love that people are caring about college football games or bowl games. It seems like this is
at least that
one seem to be like spring games. But yeah, I love the animosity between these two guys. The other game that ended, the Washington game, was crazy at the end. So Washington was down 2 scores with 4 minutes left. They went on a 97-yard drive and then another drive. They're down 1, and they go for 2, and they didn't get it after some very questionable pass interference call from the refs to even it was on 4th down. Louisville probably should have won that game earlier. But, yeah, a great spectacle today in some of these early games.
A lot of bowl games. Hey, I hope you have a wonderful New Year's. I wish that everybody please be safe tonight. Always a little sad on this day because on New Year's Eve is when Roberto Clemente passed away. It was 52 years ago today on a really mission to help people people in need of food and supplies. He was headed to Nicaragua, and his plane crashed, and he was lost tragically. One of the great players in baseball history, the greatest player in Pittsburgh Pirates history, and really one of the great players of all time, lost 52 years ago today.
Do you remember where you were when you heard it?
I don't. I don't remember that. I remember how devastated I was when we found out, but I don't remember when it was. It was again. I was 14.
Yeah.
And my dad died that year.
Right.
So my dad died the same year. So it was a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, my dad died the next year, but I mean a couple months later. But that was a stretch of my life.
Right.
A lot of stuff was going on. So I don't remember. That specifically, but certainly died 52 years ago today. All right, so a lot of bowl games to watch tomorrow. It's going to be an awful lot of fun. Louisville celebrating a victory. 1 quarter to go. South Carolina and Illinois. South Carolina leads by 3, and the final of that game is coming up. The final quarter of that game tonight.
And then following that game, it'll be Beamer versus Bielema. Hell in a Cell.
The handshake.
Yeah. JJ likes Bielema in that. Do you?
I like Beamer because I don't think Bielema can walk 15 feet without wheezing.
I think it's the sticking in the moving.
I'm just relying on Bielema to get one hand on him, and once he gets him close, I think it's a wrap.
Bielema looks like the old 1980s WWF wrestler Earthquake a little too much. So I'm going to go with the lightweight Beamer.
I do think he's got to stay away from him. You got to stick and move.
Oh my God, Earthquake! John Tenta, his hair. Wow.
You got to stick and move a little bit. So, hey, you have plans for New Year's Eve tonight?
We are staying in and just chilling out, but everybody have a wonderful time.
Jean's been traveling a lot, I know.
Yes.
She's been traveling, so I know she's talking about. JJ, big plans tonight?
Oh, hell yeah. Got champagne in the fridge, going out to dinner after Rick's show, and I can't wait for tomorrow, man.
Yeah.
I'll be on that couch.
Yeah, me too. There's a lot of games. Same here. We have 4 or 5 couples going to dinner tonight. It's kind of our New Year's Eve tradition. We're going I think we're going at 8. But despite the fact that we're going at 8, there's not a chance I see that ball drop. There's not a chance. I can't remember the last time I saw the ball drop.
Sometimes, it's the same.
I try.
It's pretty much the same every year.
I try. Well, and here's the thing, too.
I do know when the last time you saw it drop. It had to be Ohio State, Georgia.
Yes.
Probably right. That's right.
Because
that's
exactly
right.
Literally happening as he was kicking that field goal.
Good call. And but here's the thing. And all the New Year's Eve shows now, I don't know many of the bands anymore. Back in the day, you'd know all 3 networks would have a bunch of acts, and I'd know them all. I know very few.
Maybe we'll get lucky and Hall & Oates will reunite tonight on New Year's Eve.
They can't be because Teddy Swims is on every show. He's gonna be on every show. So that's it, folks. Rick Ballou's coming up next. Don't go anywhere. Have a very safe New Year's Eve and enjoy your New Year. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see you back here again on Thursday. Our final 2 to 4 show is coming up this Thursday. We're out of here. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.